Hi, Aletha here with Create Your Future. I am a one-on-one coach with Create Your Future, and currently I am running a spring sale. Not only is the coaching on sale, but also my courses, and I have 4 right now. Manifest exactly what you desire, Foolproof, Get Your Recipe Back, Manifesting with an Age Gap, and Anti-Aging and the Law of Assumption, Turning Back Your Biological Clock. All 4 are on sale, as well as my one-on-one coaching. I have a question for you. Where are you living? Not your street address, but psychologically, where are you living? Are you living as though the thing your heart desires already exists, from the feeling of already having what it is your heart desires? Or are you over here in the old story, living from the hurt and the pain and the 3D situations, and trying to figure out, and your mind looping constantly, how am I going to deal with this latest event that took place in the 3D? Somebody said, an SP said something, or a specific person said something you didn't like. They ghosted you. Now what am I going to do? How am I going to react? You're building off of the old story. You're building out of lack. You're building out of not having. You're imagining that with your thoughts. And as you do that, you are creating more of what you do not want. Yes, I know that it's so powerful. It really takes mind discipline, because your mind is going to push at you so hard, and the pain emotionally is going to be so great at times that you're just going to feel like you're going crazy, and you cannot get yourself out of the hole to create a whole new life for yourself. But that's what you need to do. You need to change your address. You need to move psychologically from the old place that you've lived in for a long time, probably, into the new place that you desire. Well, how do you know what that is? Well, what do you desire? Do you desire to be in a committed, loving relationship with a specific person? Do you desire perfect health? Do you desire healing from some specific disease and illness? Do you desire more income? What do you desire? Do you desire a vacation in the Caribbean? What do you desire? Whatever it is that you desire, you think, well, how would I feel if I already had that? And as you think about that, how would I feel? Write down how you would feel. And then you look at your personality. What are my attributes as this person? How would I act and be if I were with the person I'm in love with? How would I act, and what would be the things that I'd be doing if I were a multimillionaire, or if I were traveling around the world, or if I didn't have this illness? What would I be doing? What would I be thinking? What would I be feeling? What would I be saying to other people? And as you do that, you're shifting from the old story, which is nothing more than a reflection of your old thoughts. And you're shifting into your new thoughts, and you're living there. So how much of your time is spent living in this new destination as opposed to the old? So how much of your time is spent over here in the new story versus the old story? And really, the success I've seen with my clients and in my own life is that when we are able to finally discipline our minds to move out of the old story and stop recreating on top of the old not having stuff, and only think about the new. As soon as something in the 3D happens that hurts your feelings or makes you angry, what do? You don't loop over that. You don't figure out how I'm going to fix it, or what I'm going to say, or how I'm going to justify the situation. No. You just say, that's an old thought. It's a reflection from the past thoughts that I've had. Here's my desire. This is my new story. This is who I am choosing to be. And you put your consciousness on that. When you have a desire, the desire is already in existence. It's calling to you to give it your attention. Because when you give it your attention, you're placing your consciousness on it. When you place your consciousness on it, then that's what becomes your new world. Because we create from what we're conscious of. I am whatever I am conscious of. So you have to stay in this new story, this new location, this new address, if you will, of being psychologically the new version of you, along with the new version of the specific person, and the job, the money, whatever it is, the health, you stay there mentally. And you let, even though stuff's still going on in the 3D, that's not what you want. you just simply say, no, I'm already married to Mr. SP. I'm already married to my specific person. I am already abundantly wealthy. I am already traveling around the world. I am already healed of whatever it may be. Even though you still have pain or symptoms of some kind, you live there. And when I've worked on healing of myself, and I'm struggling through pain, and I want to just sit down and cry maybe sometimes in the past, what did I do? What you have to do, and you have to be hard-nosed about it, and you do this with everything, not just your health. Be hard-nosed about it and say, no, with the health, I have perfect health all the time. And I am free of all illness, disease, and infirmities of every kind. And basically, it got to the point where all I simply said was, I have perfect health. I am perfect health. I am. Good words to use. And you can apply that to, I had a client who was asked a question about something, won't that mess up your manifestation of your specific person? And the response was, no, because I'm already Mrs. SP. So you don't have to make it complicated, but you do need to stay in the new story. You need to stay consciously aware of what it is you've created for your future, because that's what it's going to be, your future. You're creating it now. It's going to be pushed out and then be reflected back. And all this other old stuff will be gone. So if you want to revise another person to love you, adore you, and dote on you, and treat you like a goddess, then you need to see that person in that light, not the way that they're showing up currently. You created them, so uncreate it by taking your attention off of it and putting it on what you do want now. You want love and kindness and pursued. You want them to be like all about you. And you want to be in this loving, beautiful relationship with them. So that's where you give your attention. And when the desire is seeking you, and as it's seeking you, all it needs you to do is to give it your attention, and you more of attention and more attention and more. The more you give attention to that, the sooner it shows up. You take all your attention, if you can, off of this and put it all onto the new story, and it will show up very quickly. My one client did that, and it was only a day. It was like a couple days. I mean, seriously, after months and months and months of finally getting to the place where she was able to say, you know what? I am Mrs. So-and-so. No matter what happens in the 3D, and there was no communication at that point, and it had not ended on a good note, I am Mrs. SP. And guess what? The SP called her, didn't reach her, kept calling and calling, text, was just adamant about reaching her, and then apologized and said, I can't even remember why we broke up. And that was part of her manifestation, that they wouldn't remember the things that took place in the past, that they would just be so in love with her. And they are, and they're also engaged. So it is all, because why? The desire to be with this person. And there was a time when she was like, should I or should I not? And I was like, it's up to you. Do you want to invest in him? If you don't, that's fine. But if you do, it will manifest. And she stayed. She stayed and she manifested everything her heart's desiring and more. This is like amazing story. Why did it happen? Because she stopped focusing on the old story. Every time it would show up, she'd say, no, I am Mrs. So-and-so. I am Mrs. SP. And many other things that went along with that, so that the person showed up the way she visualized them, the way she intended them, with her intentions and her assumptions. And so it is a matter of recognizing that your desire that's in your heart is there because it exists. And it's seeking you, and all it needs you to do is to give it your attention, the most attention you can possibly give it. Where is most of your attention going? Is it on the old story of what you don't want, or is it actually on the new story of what you do want? And if you can't get there like full force all in right away, that's okay. Just keep doing it. You will. I mean, it takes practice. It takes time. We need to practice the new story. You got lots of time in on practicing the old one, but how about getting rid of the old one by practicing the new one? And that's exactly what it takes. And your mind will get to the point where it's easier to stay in the new story than in the very beginning. In the beginning, it's going to fight you and you're going to feel like crazy. But don't give in. Don't quit. Don't quit. Every time you start to loop on what's going on in the 3D and you catch yourself and become aware of that, stop it and say, no, I am Mrs. Whatever. I am a multimillionaire. I am perfect health. Give yourself a good mantra that you can jump to right away. It's kind of like when you're having a panic attack. You need to know what you can do to get yourself settled immediately, right? For me, that was journaling. Even though you couldn't read what I wrote, my hands were shaking like crazy. As soon as I would start to journal, and by the time I got to the end of the page, it was getting better and better and better. And I just wrote what I was feeling at the time. And sometimes it made no sense. It didn't matter, because what it did was it brought me back to a state of homeostasis where I was balanced inside, in harmony with myself. And the panic was gone. The fear was gone. Because, you know, sometimes when you're in this process of panic attacks, you know better than to have one, right? But they just come on. I mean, they just do. And how do you stop it? And I learned how to stop it through, for me, it was writing and doing something physical like that. So same thing, you're having a battle with your mind. So what do you need a good strong mantra that you can say, I am Mrs. or I am my SP's life partner, or I am a multimillionaire, or I am traveling the world, I am perfect health, whatever your situation is. And the more you do that, the less and less and less the old story will push itself at you. And less, the 3D will become less and less and less, because the more attention you're giving the new story, it's being pushed out, right? The more attention you give it, the more it has opportunity to push out. And as it pushes out, you're going to start getting evidence of all the things that you've been thinking and feeling and doing with regards to the new story. And that's going to be reflected back to you so that your 3D becomes not hurtful. And that's what she said, you know, when I finally got to the point where my SP was saying back to me everything that I wanted to hear and committing his life to me, it was almost anticlimactic because I've already experienced it. That was like, oh yeah, that's what you said in my mind, psychologically, where she was already living. And so, because it's a reflection, what's showing up now is a reflection of her thoughts. And so, is she enjoying it? Yes, absolutely. But it was an interesting kind of thing, because it already was that's why she manifested it, because it already existed inside of her. And what exists inside of us is pushed out and then reflected back. So think about, where are you living psychologically? Is it in the old story most of the time? Or is it over here in the new story? Make sure that you practice and with repetition, living in the new story. Catch your thoughts. And then move into how I would feel if I already had whatever it might be. And live from there. And it might be moment to moment at times, especially if you're ill. I am perfect health. I am perfect health. I am perfect health. And you say that over and over. And eventually you'll start, I've healed myself in 4 days of things, and less than that for some things. So you can do that. It does work. Blessings. Remember, everything is on sale, one-on-one coaching and all of my courses. And if you would like some help with anything that I talked about today and how the things that I helped her with to reinforce and give her techniques and ways of thinking and assumptions and intentions to move out of the old story completely and live in a state of confidence, knowing that this is my life now. She answered her mother once, no, he's my husband. And she hadn't had communication in quite a while. Guess what? He's going to be. He came back. Because she lived from the state of knowing that that's who she is right now. I am Mrs. So-and-so. Blessings.